Okay, let's get into the stock market technical analysis. We're going to go ahead and look at the broad markets. We'll look at the tech stocks because obviously those are major players in the market right now. And we'll look at NVDA. Very important there. We have earnings coming up on that one. So let's drop right into it. Guys, if you're interested, though, as I'm going along in the private member group, feel free to join up. I'm giving additional trade ideas, additional market insights. I'm going to put out the public video today, but I will be commenting and giving additional kind of insights in the private member group, especially as NVIDIA earnings come out and really what I'm seeing in the charts after those earnings. So check that out. Link in the description below if you're interested. I think it's like $5 a month, basically. It's the lowest price I could basically find. All right, so triple Qs. What do we have here? We have a bearish rising wedge. And again, a lot of the stuff I've talked about for basically months because that's basically how swing trading happens. You know, you line up certain key trades and basically we have to wait for those trades to trigger. So here's our bearish rising wedge there. All right. And on this one, we have, let me kind of clean that up. We've got clean support lines, support, kind of a reaction there. There's another reaction there. We have negative divergence, building. It's been building for a while. And we have a sell signal, a break of trend. All right, boom, there it is. That is exactly what I was looking for, what I've been talking about. And we now have it. And you can see we basically got the sell signal. We got it yesterday and then follow through today, more selling today. All right. And you can see if we really narrow it down to the hourly chart and the price action specific of yesterday, you can see here's yesterday. We kind of gap down, hard sell, bulls step in, sold it again. Bulls tried to, bulls did rally it up towards the end of the day, but they didn't recover that trend line. All right, they would have to get all the way up here. Just a lot of damage was done on that initial breakdown and sell off in the morning where the bulls just weren't able to recover it. So now we have technical damage to this chart. We have an official sell signal, and you can see today gapping down and more selling. All right, now we do have one thing that we do want to look out for, and that's NVIDIA. NVIDIA earnings coming out. I believe it's after the bell today. I'll double check. Let's go over there right now and just make sure that we can confirm. Yeah, today after the bell. So that's going to be the one area where there's risk because if NVIDIA comes out and the market loves what they say and they buy it up, then we obviously could see triple Qs recover this trend line. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that at most we would maybe get a back test. So let's say NVIDIA rallies after earnings. Maybe we open up right up in here, right in the resistance level. If you see that, okay, so had to take a quick little break. So NVIDIA earnings obviously could rally us up. If triple Qs does want to rally, I think we could have a back test of the trend line. And that would be a very objective spot to initiate a short or add on to a short. Now, again, if they back test the trend line and then they start to recover and they're able to recover the trend line, and especially with the daily close, because you could see intraday, they'll try to pop it up, make it look like they're going to recover, and then it'll fail. But if you get the daily close above the trend line and they are able to really hold that trend line, then yeah, that could be a potential false breakdown. So things to look for there. The one thing is the negative divergences are there, and we have a bearish rising wedge. The divergences show that the rally, the momentum is losing steam. All right, and now officially the rally has broken that trend. So I think any kind of rally, to me, is a sell the rip moment right now. So if we rally into resistance, that's an objective area to add to a short for the next tradable trend to the downside. Okay, so I think we are, we'll probably hit the 200-day moving average. So we'll look at support levels, if we continue to fall, which I do anticipate we will. But it doesn't mean we can't bounce right after the NVIDIA earnings. So let me jump over to NVIDIA. Take a look at that. So NVIDIA, I got a couple things. If I go to, you have to really get down to the hourly chart to find that initial sell signal. So on the hourly chart, and I pointed this out to the private member group, we were in this, we were kind of trading up this little incline right here. Finally, we broke, traded sideways, big gap down. That's the biggest down day we've seen in NVIDIA for a while. You go back and look at red candles on the hourly chart. I can't find one that is really that red for, I mean, it goes back a ways. So, I think that got the selling started. And if I flip back to the daily chart, you can see here, the larger trend on NVIDIA is way down here. All right. The bull trend is down here, which started back in October of 2022. And I've got it kind of circled. There's support. Here's another reaction there. So that's the bull trend. So NVIDIA, if it's going to gap down, which I guess if I had to pick a direction, I'm thinking it's going to gap down. I think it gaps down. I don't know if it's going to gap all the way down here because that's obviously a monster move. That would be, but it could. 15% down, sure. NVIDIA gapped up 20%. Why can't it gap down 15? So sure, I guess it could. But in general, that would be that's the support line down there. So if we gap down there, I would expect we probably bounce, okay? Because that's the major trend line. You should have bulls and buyers waiting down there. Okay, so that's how I'm looking to play it. If we gap down here, I'll probably cover a short trade that I have. I do have a short on this. It's not a huge position. I can't take a huge position on it because, again, it's just ahead of earnings. It's high risk. It just is, taking positions, regardless of what the charts tell you, ahead of earnings is going to, you're subject to some sort of a gap, basically. And so that gap could go against you. So smaller position size on that one for me. But again, you don't need a whole lot. I mean, if it gaps down 15%, I'll cover the trade. You could even maybe flip. You probably get a bounce, and then ultimately come back down to the trend line. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of jump around at some various trade ideas now. So, LLY, Eli Lilly. This thing's been a monster trade. I mean, it's really just gone basically parabolic. You roll out and look. This is March of 2023. The thing is up. 150%. That's pretty sizable move in LLY. Now this one, the biggest thing I'm kind of honing in on, there's a trade here. You can take it or leave it, I guess, but right there, bearish engulfing candle. So you have a outside day, and that's also a bearish engulfing, which essentially means that you were trading above the previous day's highs and closed. You open above the previous day's highs and you close below the previous day's lows, engulfing the previous day. It's a reversal candlestick. And what you want to look for, what I used to teach in my course when I had that up on YouTube, was what you want to look for is confirmation, so additional selling. And we have that today down at 1.95%, gapping down and likely going to kind of hold in this area. I don't think I think we'll probably hold in this area. So that combined, those two is a topping. That's a reversal essentially. And the way you trade it is you can short it. You can short that candle or short this confirmation with a stop. You just want to put your stop basically slightly above the candle. I would just go just slightly above. You really don't want to see a daily close above that engulfing candle. If you get a daily close above the engulfing candle, then it negates this as a reversal. All right, it negates this as a top. But as long as this holds, then this is the top basically. So you trade it as if this is the top, and then you stop out if it's no longer the top. All right, that's how that works. And then typically you're going to get a sizable move to the downside. So that is a trade. Now my trend lines, I had support right here on this one. We had several reactions along there, and we actually got reactions from underneath as well. There's a gap up, so I think you probably come down, maybe bounce. Ultimately, I think we're going to break. I'm going to get rid of this trend line. I don't need that one anymore. But yeah, in general, I would just trade this as a topping stick, and yeah, you know where to stop out at. This one also looks interesting to me. MasterCard MA. So again, the bigger pattern is you've got this bearish rising wedge pattern, lots of reactions on this support line here. There's the low, there's a reaction right there. You've got a reaction there, and then once it broke, you had some reactions from underneath, essentially this one actually right there. So on Friday, this thing gapped right into that trend line at resistance and sold off essentially. Now, what you want to look for typically, because this was the trend line I was following, we had a sell signal and a break of trend, but sometimes you can back test. And what I want to look for when we're back testing, which is what this was right here, is an impulsive rejection on the back test. And that's exactly what we got right there. Big gap down. All right, that's an impulsive rejection. This thing gapped down 3% yesterday. And today it's up slightly, but again, that's an impulsive rejection. So I think we're probably starting a downtrend. Could rally up, could fill the gap. It's completely possible there. That would be an objective area to add or initiate a short if you do fill the gap. But yeah, I think this heads lower over time. And even if I clean up my divergences from the past, you can see there's a divergence right there on the RSI. And, it's basically there on the PPO. So that gap up or that move up into that resistance was a divergent high right into major resistance. It's an objective area to short. And if you did that, then you were rewarded because it followed with a big gap down the next day. So, yeah, I think other people are other traders are following this trend line as well. The price action indicates that. Another one that looks like it's topping. We don't have a sell signal yet, but this is Pulte Homes. It's a home builder. Again, on this one, look at the divergence. Look at the momentum just dropping off. It's just dropping, and you just keep kind of popping up price action, making new highs. Those are divergent highs. They're getting sold into, but we don't have a definitive sell signal. Support right now looks to be right about 99.75 or so, $100 right in there. You can see yesterday they came close, they hit it, the buyer stepped in. So there's no sell signal on this. We just have negative divergence. And this can continue. We could continue to show this price action. So we don't want to just jump the gun and short it. But keep an eye out for a break of this support, because I think if it breaks, you're going to have a pretty fast move down to the 200-day moving average. We also have some gaps down below. You can see there's a gap right here, so maybe fill that gap. We've got a couple gaps down below. There's a gap down here, down at 77. So those would be price targets for me. And then obviously the 200-day, and then gap entry right there. Okay, so down there I think would be the price target for that one. Okay, Affirm. So these are some of these stocks that I think have the potential to have pretty good drops. Affirm is just having a little problem trying to break support. There's still some buyers here. I don't know what they're holding out for, potentially NVDA earnings. On the daily chart, on the RSI and the PPO, you have let me just double check. You don't really have divergence. You have dropping momentum here, but we did make a new high in price right there. So actually that one I take back. It's not the cleanest chart in terms of divergence. Momentum is dropping, and we do have somewhat of a break of trend, but not impulsive yet. So we'll see. All right, that one might have a little more work to do. Okay, SMCI and really the semiconductors. This is obviously an AI stock, but it started to kind of poke some holes in that AI trade, basically. SMCI obviously had this big old bearish engulfing candle there. More downside, more selling. So at this point, I think rips should be sold. All right, so it's not a buy the dip, it's a sell the rip. You're going to have big moves up because this is just, it's a volatile stock. But I think that gets sold into, and you continue lower down to about 354. Looks like the last level of resistance here. There's a big impulsive candle right there. So that would be the target right now, is about Well, it's really about 358. All right, it's a 350. It's a $700 stock right now, so within dollars basically. Okay, gold. I know there's several subscribers and private members that are interested in the gold trade. Newmont Mining. You've got. I don't see any signs that it's along here. I mean, you do. If I start to narrow it down, we're starting to show maybe minor bullish divergence right here on Newmont, right there. But there's no buy signal. There's no break of trendline resistance. I mean, it's you probably have a trend line starting to show up maybe here. Again, I just maybe I don't know. It's not that clean, to be honest. So for now, we're just going to let this one be. We've got earnings coming out, so we'll see how this reacts after earnings. But in general, I just don't see much in the gold miners that tell me that these are along. Silver's getting smoked today. This one, WPM, must have had some sort of bad news report. That's what happens to these things. But again, and here's your negative divergence on this one. So you can see, you were rallying. All right, the rally's good, healthy, no issues. And then, boom, divergent high. All right, there it is, negative divergent. Telling you that the trend is likely coming to an end. You look for a trend. You look for a break of trend. All right, you broke trend here. Back test and move lower. All right, and that's it. That's how that works. So, yeah, so I don't see anything there. Natural gas, kind of interesting. Here's UNG. These are the lines that I was drawing saying that I think we needed a little more work to do to show some bullish divergence. We do have some divergence here. You can see on the daily, there's your RSI, and the PPO looks like it's about to make a bullish crossover there. And you've got lower lows in price. That's a divergent low. You also have a potential trend line right here to look at. And you have a gap up today, which would be a buy signal. All right. So, yeah, that actually looks like a buy signal in natural gas in UNG. What I would look for, you're probably going to go up to this $17, $18 and you get a pullback there. But yeah, this could be a good buying area for natural gas. It's up 11% right now, but this thing can run like crazy. So in general, what I do personally is if I'm going to take a play in natural gas, I always have a much smaller position. I don't go crazy on this thing. This thing will wreck your account in no time. And so you want to have a position that you can ride out the large moves that this does. 11% is the status quo for something like natural gas in a single day. So if you can't wake up to a position, to something that's gone against you by 11, 15%, and you can't stand it and you have to exit because you just panic, then you're too heavy in your position size. So have a position size where you can stand to have a move like 10 to 15% against you, and you're not going to get out of the trade. Technically, this looks like a breakout. It looks like a buy signal as of now. Okay, that's all I have for today. So I'm going to get the video out. Feel free to join up in the private member group. I'll continue to point out any additional trade ideas that I'm seeing set up or actionable trade ideas. I'll point those out to the private member group. And best of luck because we do have NVDA earnings. The market's going to move on that. So best of luck, guys. Take care.